Councilmember Mitchell Davis.
Here.
Councilmember David Malane. Present. Councilmember Jerry Reasoner.
Here.
Councilmember Ricky Warwick.
Here.
Councilmember Larry Sanders. Absent. Chief of Police, Chief Carlisle. Here. City Secretary Marie Campbell.
Here.
City Administrator Scott Castleberry is here.
Okay. All right, council, we are here to discuss the proposed budget for fiscal year 2026-2027 and schedule a public hearing. This public hearing will be on September 8th at 5:30. So everyone has the budget proposed in front of them. Has everyone seen the letter from the AG office? Does everyone understand that we need to discuss it? All right. I would like to set a 7 o'clock cutoff tonight on this meeting, if council agrees. Okay? All right.
Or early.
Or earlier. Well, or earlier, but at least 7. Okay, so everyone's got the budget in front of them. I would ask that if we get into a conversation where things need to be researched and printed, that Scott will make a list of that and he will have that available for the next time we meet. Everybody good with that? Okay. I would like to start with saying that the proposed, if we go with the proposed tax rate of no new revenue, that does cut our funds down some. That will only allow the city to see about a 4.75% increase over last year's total revenue. I have the chief here tonight. I do not have him here next week. So I want to make sure that we do discuss the police department's proposed salary budget.
You said if we choose to with no new revenue, I thought that budget said we had to.
It is, yes, yeah. What I'm saying is I'm not making a decision tonight because it's a workshop. I said if we decide to. Yeah, so actually you're right, Councilman, we're going to be working off that no new tax revenue, that 0.5461%, down from 0.5475%. Honestly, what I was going to come in here to do, and this is long before I met with anybody in this room, is I was going to come in here and look at a 3% across the board COLA for our city employees. Okay? Police department got a 10% increase last year, along with the county and other counties. But I was looking at coming in, and we have some salary adjustments that we need to do on the administrative side, and I understand that. But I was looking at a 3% across the board is what I was going to propose on it. I did not put that in there for y'all's numbers because I let the department heads propose their own budgets, okay? But that's where my mind is at. But this is you guys to figure this out. So, why don't we start with, okay, go ahead. You have a thought?
Quick question right there. Is 3% cost of living adjustment, and that's in addition to any merit increases that are due for somebody for their performance, or that's everyone gets 3% and that's it, period, full stop?
Mine would be 3% full stop, certification pay and or certificate pay not included in that. That is a separate deal. Merit, you can call it merit step promotion. Promotion would have to be taken into consideration. But merit or step, yeah, that would eliminate that. So let's look at the income side, guys. Let's look at the revenues coming in from the property taxes, and we see the proposed number. We're at 83% of our budget now. We've got 17% left. Pretty much what you're seeing on property tax income is accurate. Everything's in on property tax. Am I correct on that?
Up to July. Yes.
Up to July. Okay. Okay.
No, I'm sorry, up to June. I was starting July's. I haven't got all of July's yet.
Okay. No, I've been, I'm trying to have my notes over here. Yeah, no, mine does not have percentages on the paper. I did some math. And understand I'm going through this work right now too. Yeah, so we're going through our budget work. Yeah, so I want everyone to look at those income revenue lines. I want to look at what we did last year and go back and look a year back and do some comparisons on those, okay? Because trends are not from one year to the next. Trends are over 3 years.
Question for either Scott or Marie. The revenues, the miscellaneous 2,600, is that the conduits? What accounts for the difference between the 5,000 budget and the 25 to 28,000 we've gotten over the last couple of years?
Okay, it's combination of a reimbursement of personal charge of the city on the city's card, $100 for O-Badge, $25,000 for conduit.
So the bulk of it is the conduit?
Conduit, yes.
So we're assuming that no conduit next year for the budget?
You only have two in a certain time frame. I think
But we
Well, yeah.
had 2 in 25, 2 in 26, we're assuming none in 27.
But the window floats, so your time frame floats, that you can only have 2 within a certain time period.
Right, but essentially 2 a
started
year.
over again in January, I think, in 27.
I don't know
And
that
they
it
have
does.
reached out to us about anything, doing it that way.
No, I'm just saying, historically they have.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they will, but we're assuming none. So for budget purposes, we're assuming none, and if they come in, it's surplus.
Yes, sir.
I like that. I like all
Just
that.
want to make sure I understand. And the same with the liability insurance rebates.
Yes.
All right, so moving on down to municipal court, everything under that. I mean, I went through these numbers over and over and again, so I'm really needing to hear anyone that has any questions or anyone that made any notes on something they want to question on the income side.
Mayor, I was told, so all my questions I had answered validly. So
Okay.
if I have any more, I'll answer them validly.
Good deal. Okay. Permits and inspections,
Yes, sir.
permits and inspections, how many houses are we thinking will even be built in the first year of phase 2?
We just met with them yesterday,
Okay?
and we just signed that contract for the 90 days for theirs to start for the roadside ditches and roads to be put in. They said they look for the first permits to start with us around November.
What's he got planned for first part of phase 2?
There's 2 builders, and they're each gonna have 8 houses, 7 houses, 15 total to start.
Okay.
And then it'll go every 30 days, each of them will add more to it, so permits will start coming in pretty quick after that. But
So
there
that's
won't
not
be a house on the
unreasonable.
ground till 27.
Yeah, well, the permit fees though.
Permit fees will be, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
We'll
that's
start
not,
collecting those in November.
yeah, so that's not an unattainable number. Total income, explain that to Chief. Police department income, 211, 2350, total income.
The Zabola income, we're pretty much capped out at 581. the tow income. That's a good number based on, we've gone through a year with that program, and everybody's happy with the program, so I think it's gonna work out fine.
Yep.
$7,000 training income, that's actually, seems to be a pretty good number. We've already exceeded that this year, we exceeded that last year, so.
So that tow income didn't include any permits for these guys to tow? Or is that what that is?
That's the annual permit for them to do it, and the
And it's
first tow fee.
and it's an annual, okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And then, I lowered the miscellaneous to 400 because, we hadn't quite got there. I know it looks like we did, but we put that donation we had in that miscellaneous, but beyond that donation, it was like 329, and, we had budgeted 400, so I lowered that 100.
All right.
And then same thing with the, police report fees. It seems to not be up to that 1,500, so I lowered it to 1,000 to be more realistic. And the auto theft grant for 18,250. I haven't reported that. We got accepted on that for the city council yet because it just happened.
Mhm.
But on the next council report, it'll be in there that we were approved for that, and we'll get that money after the next budget begins.
Okay. And that is earmarked for,
The subscriptions, it takes care of, block cameras and stuff.
Question for Chief on Tooele. So maybe I misunderstood. I thought when we talked about the Tooele contract last year, you were negotiating an annual increase for salaries for your officers, so we didn't get outpaced. But because they're capped in the number of homes, you can't give your officers a raise. We can't pay more for gas. We can't pay more for cars. Once it's capped, we're kind of hosed. So right now, the annual increase from last year is less than 1%, which is about half of what you need for your police officers to get a 3% raise. So the salaries that you have assigned to Tooele, roughly 360,000, at a 3% raise, as the mayor's proposing, is almost 11,000. And we're only getting 4,000 in increased revenue in the contract. So this year we will lose $6,000 to $7,000 in the contract from last year for salaries alone, not including anything for inflation on the entire rest of the contract. So if we're not tied to inflation, I don't understand how we're going to continue to make it work.
So that is not true. That's not true in that number. This number is what I can say as of today. What's in the contract is in August, which August just began. We go to the source, Department of Labor Statistics or whatever, to find the true cost of living for the Houston area. And then we do that contract, we do that calculation, and that becomes that. We would probably, once that change is made, we would probably have to amend this. So it'll be more income.
How do we sign off on a budget if we
Because
don't? How do we sign off on a budget if we don't know what the number is? So right now,
I put a lower number.
okay, but right now, Chief, when I look at this, just straight, no fuzzy math, we're $4,000 more than we were last year. When I look at the column for 2026 amendments, we're at 577. For the proposed budget, we're at 581, $4,000. Working off your spreadsheet for salaries for Tooele, 360 at 3% is 10,761. That's $7,000 more than we're getting in the contract. So I understand you're saying it's going to be adjusted. It's going to be adjusted when? And how do we know with confidence that we're going to get that adjustment so that we're not going to have to take that $11,000 or out of some other line item to cover that shortfall if the budget does not get adjusted?
Well, it is in the contract that we go to the U.S. Department of Labor Statistics to find out the Houston area cost of living increase. And that is a contract, it's in the contract.
Okay.
That we calculate that, and it actually applies to the total contract,
Okay.
not just the labor portion of it.
Good.
So
When does that
that's
happen?
That happens in August.
Okay, we're in August,
We
so
just started August, yes.
when does that happen? So we need that to happen before we accept the final budget so that we know what that is. Otherwise, we need to adjust your budget for what we know you're going to spend. And if the other money comes in, great. That means we're gonna have to take that $7,000 from somewhere else to cover that shortfall until that budget is adjusted. And then if it's adjusted, you can put that money back where we took it from.
Yeah, but I applied the numbers to, if you look at, I'll have a sheet that I'll be handing out, and I'll cover that a little bit better.
Okay?
But I have applied the numbers to the labor, to cover the labor. When we make that adjustment, we'll be able to place that elsewhere outside the labor to make up for any of that. But usually, we'll approve this number, and then later on, like mid-budget year review, we'll see, okay, we are going to be getting an extra 7,000, for example, from the BOA, and then we'll make that adjustment on that budget amendment. We've done it many times before.
Understand.
And then we buy some equipment with it. One year I was excited, I got the new refrigerator back.
So we're going to accept the budget next week, correct?
September 8th.
But we have to accept the
We have
tax
to-
rate at the end of next week.
We have to propose,
It's proposed
we have to
tax.
propose that.
But it's September, so we will have the revised Tavola contract before we accept the final budget.
I wasn't planning on that.
Yeah, I guess,
But
my
if-
frustration, Chief, is, what I don't want is,
If you want
I'll make it work, right? That doesn't make me feel comfortable, and the obligation of the council is to make sure that we have a budget that we can live with, and saying that we're relying on something that should come but hasn't is concerning. Kind of like the conduits, right? I don't want to plan on getting the conduits, although we've gotten them for the last 3 years. We should get them next year, but we shouldn't have them in the budget if they're not a fact and they're a guess.
So the
And the
numbers-
same thing with the Tavola contract.
The numbers that are in there work. We got a zero budget, and then the mid-budget, my intentions were mid-year review, when we review it, and we're gonna do a
So it's in the contract that Office of Labor Standards puts a number on. The VOLA in the contract, that number is what you use.
yes.
You will have that number sometime in August. Not a final contract, but you will have that number.
Yes.
And that will be applied against last year's 577, not what you show in this year's 581, because the budget hasn't been changed until you get that cost of living adjustment. Or has it been changed based on the number of houses?
So the way the contract reads is, we determine it in August of what it's gonna be for October.
Yeah, but the number
So
will be there.
if I do get that number before you gavel on the approved budget, I'll give you that number and we can make the adjustments then. But I have to have the number before I submit it.
I understand. I guess my question is, does it apply against the 577 or the 581?
581.
So the 581 is the current number of homes on the dollar per home contract? Okay.
And it would go
Yes, I
up
understand that.
whatever the August requirement is for the contract.
Understood.
Okay. So we,
Basically, it would put us, if we don't get it entered into the budget and we did the mid-budget year thing, it would make that 581 go up, not down.
the 581 is not going to go down.
No,
That is already
it's already
set.
contracted.
We're waiting on the
We're waiting on
cost
the-
of living increase. Okay, so that number will only go up, we just don't know at what amount it will go up.
Exactly.
Okay. We will have a number in August.
Yes.
Okay.
By the end of August, we should have that number.
Okay. Okay.
Understand.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Now I do understand, okay. Any other comments on the income, police department? Let's look at permits, inspections. Still looking on the income side. We do have some homes going in phase 2. So these permit inspection fees are not unrealistic for that. As with the culvert permits and the logging. I don't like solicitation permits. I know I never brought something to council to eliminate that, but I do not like it. I do not think that we need to license people. to bother our neighbors on a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock. Solicitation permits. I do not like, I don't even like that word. Anyway, but it is what it is, because I did not bring something that we could all agree and vote on, and not even something y'all could look at yet. Why lower on the through truck permits? Just curious.
The through truck permits?
Yeah, why go down just,
Well, there was a big influx, that's why it's, the actual right now income this year was 8,600.
Sure.
Was because we had that, the gas company back here that started the whole thing for us this year.
okay.
We probably made, probably 8,000 of that 800 is from that one company
Gotcha.
that was through here for the month, and then when they finished, the 3 months later, when they took their equipment back out, they had to re-permit to
Oh.
go back out to our cities.
Gotcha. Okay. Income parks and recreation, pavilion rental fees, I don't see that going down, obviously.
Sure budgeting all that's full passes on.
Man, I tell you what, that's a good job there.
Well, you can give credit to Josh on that.
Yeah.
He started something with Big Rivers Water Park.
Yeah,
They had a thing where they couldn't train their lifeguards because they opened at a certain time and it was a conflict. And so we rented out our pool to them when days we were closed. And we charged them $350 for the day. We were closed anyway. First time they did it 2 days, they wrote us a check for $700.
yeah,
They probably did it 4 more times at $350. He's now worked out something with them next year where we're gonna trade out a day for them, and they're gonna take all of our lifeguards we hire, and they're gonna train them for free.
very good.
So,
No, that's great. No, that was good, I knew that had happened. Go back to revenue first page, energy, is anything on this underground gonna change our franchise income on that?
no, because that's based on the amount of kilowatt hours, and it should really, with all the things coming on, that number should keep going up every year.
Yeah. Pool concession, yeah. So if we look, guys, we look, FY 2026 budget, that 2,430,000, we look at proposed, no new tax rate, you look at the proposed income, I'm looking at a 4.75% increase in revenue for the city, according to budget.
What was it?
I'm looking at a 4.75% increase if you look at budgeted 2026 numbers to proposed income under the no new revenue. I'm looking at a 4.75% increase. Just so everybody has that number in their head when we're looking at expenditures. Municipal court, anything pop out that you notice different, Scott, needs to,
No, just that.
we're on expenses now.
Yes, sir, the salary part of the municipal court, cut in half, as I spoke with somebody when you picked up your packet, that's where, using some of that money to give equity to some people, also putting some money into the administration so that we can hire, as we get into more permits and more things that go on with the new phase 2 section, we're able to bring in someone part-time, maybe a couple times a week, not till like February, we're talking next year. But that's just in there for just in case. And then there's also a little bit in there for, we use some of that money for the part-time person we hired mowing weeds during the summer, which is a great help to Larry and the guys, just having an extra set of hands to keep things looking good.
Because of clerk being part-time, is that why you budgeted no money for overtime?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And those hours for the person that we are start Tuesday,
Okay.
out of the money from this year's bid, we'll still be okay.
Training and education, is that a good number or is that a little high? I mean, we're talking about a few $100s, but
42,000.
Are you talking about?
42,000 less.
Court?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are, the reason why it's 1,500 and not the 3,000 it was before,
No, I'm looking at the 870 actual.
I'm sorry, where are you?
I'm looking at 870 actual, 1,500 budgeted.
Yes, sir, that's what happens when somebody's not here for 6 months.
So things will probably need to
They
be.
will, but we've worked out something with how she's doing our part-time for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays.
Yeah.
We've worked out where her Plum Grove's gonna pay for the other class and the other conference that she goes to.
Gotcha.
So we're both not incurring on both sides because she's part-time for both places.
Okay, the interesting ones, technology fund, technology support, technology hardware and software. Sounds like a Hank
I got questions about that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Not just this particular line item for municipal court, but all technology.
Yeah, very good.
Including the police side and administrative side. Talking with Hank over the years, he's expressed a lot of concern about some of our equipment out of date, and we do new equipment. But every year, we don't budget for anything extra for that. And if we do need something, it's always where we're gonna find the money at. So I asked him earlier today to reach out to me and give me a list of some of the things he need or would like to replace. So if y'all like to hear from him, we call him up.
We're on that line.
Hank, get through. Hank.
I'm doing this to him, he's just looking at me. Yeah, we're looking at technology, hardware, software, we're planning.
Okay.
Tell us what's out of date, tell us what you think we need in the
It's not-
future.
It's
We'll go
not
from there.
there. Turned it off.
It times out.
It's on now. For the new move, we're gonna need quite a lot. A lot of stuff's gonna be moved around. Start out with, we're gonna need a cabinet, and it's gonna have to be a cabinet that the equipment actually fits in. The cabinet that I have now can't be secured, which is not really CJIS compliant. So I would like a full-size cabinet where the servers will actually slide in, I can slide them out to service them. That's something that's not doable right now. And all of our equipment is literally stuffed in there. I mean, it's a nightmare. We're gonna need a good grounded electrical system for the new server room as well. There's no ground in the one that we have now. And so it's touch and go. So I'm hoping we can get something like that. Of course, there's gonna be tons of cabling that have to be done to move all of the equipment, which is internet and everything else, and even the tie-in to the city will have to move to the new server room. So there's gonna need to be funding for that. That's just the move. Their server itself is over 10 years old. It hasn't reached end of life yet, but we're
Close.
2 years away from end of life before it's just no longer compliant. So we really need to get into a new DC, get it in place, and get it working. I don't trust new servers unless they've been in service for 6 months or better. Because if they're gonna fail, they're gonna fail at the beginning or at the very end of life. So that's the other thing. On the city side, new backup drives would be nice. There's nothing wrong with the backup drives we have now, other than they're being strongly exercised, and eventually they're gonna fail. So we're looking at 5 additional backup drives. That's probably $600. It's not that big of a cost, and it'll save you if something goes wrong. So that's something I'd really like to see. Our switch on the city side will reach end of life next year, so it's gonna need to be replaced. And I'm not sure about any of the other components that are provided by others. There's 2 or 3 components in there that are provided by the court software and stuff like that that I need to look at as well. Everything else should be fine. We're at category 6 throughout the building, so we should be all right on cabling for a while. I'd like to make some changes, and I think there's gonna be a couple of cables they're gonna have to move, whether the new PD moves, that are just tied into the city side, but that's something I'll take care of when I'm up there.
If you were sitting here and you were going to attach a number, a dollar amount to everything you just talked about, what number would be in your head?
Wait a minute.
Hey, put you on the spot.
Y'all are gonna hate
That
this.
number you're talking about, and the
So you want
the
one
first
hundred-
10 things that he talked about were things that should be included in that building being built out of a budget,
No, no.
not out of a city budget that we prepared for.
That was question 2.
I know, but he didn't clarify it that way.
No, but he's going to. Question 1, everything you just talked about, assign a number to it.
I would think for the move and for everything that we're gonna have to do to get it moved, you're probably looking at 7,000 or better.
Okay.
I would think for what the city's going to need, and this is just hardware alone, this is not time and everything.
Sure.
For the city, you're probably looking at, in the next year, $3,500 to get us compliant, to get us up to par, to get us right. That's just for hardware.
So then we add about 25%, 30% on labor to that number?
I would say just double it for labor, because that's
Double
just
for
what it
labor.
comes out to be.
Okay, so we're looking at about a $18,000 to $20,000 number?
That would make me feel comfortable. I mean, I'd love to come in way below that, but just to know that it's there would be a good thing. Here's the thing that most companies and municipalities just don't understand. Cut this stuff off for 3 days to see how you operate. And we always get the lowest budget, you know, so that's kind of where we're at.
I'm glad Councilman Blaine brought this up, because we never do budget for things to upgrade some stuff that's old.
And I think we need to put some money in capital outlay for hardware, because he just said we're gonna need new servers the next couple of years. So I
Yeah.
think we need to start budgeting that, not only this year, but next year,
Yeah.
when it does reach the end of life. Or when I was in the business, a lot of times he reaches that end of life quicker. And so I don't really want that, how much those servers really cost to hit us unexpectedly. So I think we need to start putting something in capital outlay just for technology and hardware. And,
Well, and the other thing that we really need to be cognizant of is that we're kind of entering a different phase and globally now, and we're seeing a lot more cybersecurity threats out there now. So there's going to have to be some more money spent on just protection for cybersecurity on the city side. Because right now, we're really not doing a whole lot of that. There's not a lot of policy in place. There's not any auditing in place. And I'd like to see that stuff come together too.
So make some notes on that, so we're looking at.
We do have it on the PD side, but not on the,
Yes, we're looking at, on the split, we're looking at about a 14K on the new building side and about a 6K on the city side, okay? They're not in the same, obviously in the same point on the budget, but just make some notes that we need to.
thank you, Council.
we're not through.
Yeah.
Is his numbers accurate? Chris's numbers, the one he just spent off, is it accurate to you?
That's 20,000, 14 to 6.
I would think so.
Because we just went from 20 to 6.
So, can we split that into 2 years? Or does it all need to be done?
No, we could, yeah, we could.
Okay, so give
I mean,
us.
I've definitely been able to make things stretch. We ran out of room for data just 6 months ago, and I just pounded it out. And I was able to increase our volume for data by about 60%, so that saved a lot. We didn't spend a dime on that. So that was just moving stuff around and consolidating things, creating new folders, and getting that data storage in better shape. That was just management over everything else.
Councilman Reader has a question.
Your cabinet, would a small secure room serve the same purposes as the cabinet?
Not really, because you've got to have a place to mount that equipment.
Well, you can get a MCA rack or standard rack with 232 spacing on the shelves, and those are not, you can get one of those for probably $100, where a fully secure one might cost you $500 or $600.
Well, those are actually, I think we got.
But here's the problem, and I'd like you to go look at it after the city council meeting. The servers that we have are rack-mounted servers. They're extra long, so they're 19 inches wide, but they're like 34 inches deep. I've got that thing crammed in as far as it'll go, and I can't put the doors on it. So 232 just won't work. We need an actual secure cabinet.
You're still doing your 19 inch.
Yes, it's always 19 standard on the width, but it's the depth that I'm looking for. I want a regular 7-foot secure cabinet that I can close and lock, that has airflow and everything else. And And not only that, but one that's tall enough to where I don't have everything crammed and consolidated in a 23-inch tall deal. I mean,
No.
it's not working.
Doing a 27-inch wall mount server rack work for you? 19
27? No, that's gotta be 7 foot. I need one that's
Out
tall.
right there. It's about 8 foot tall.
Yeah, I have to check and see on that depth.
600
But
bucks.
it might, yeah. You're looking at 600, 800 bucks, something like that for a decent rack.
No, I'm just curious about that because I used to buy equipment racks, like pallet loads, if you would.
Yeah, and that's before they started making these extra long servers. I mean, now they're just making them long. They're 19 inches, but man, they're, you know, that long. They're crazy. And that's what we ended up with. We've got them over here on the city side too, but I've got those in the open rack. But the problem that I have over on the PD side is that we have to have access restrictions, which we kind of have now, but in a way we don't as well, because that stuff's all in a bathroom that every officer can go into and has direct access to all that stuff. None of it's locked up.
And a lot of years of doing computers, I've never seen a computer rack in a bathroom.
Well, the other,
Hey, we do what we can.
the other issue is you have to have room to get sides in the back too.
Yeah, I've got to be able to get around
So
behind it.
you're
That
gonna
would be
have
really
to have
nice.
room anyway, big enough.
Yeah.
Big enough to take care, even if you put them in standard RCA rack, if you would.
Yeah.
You're still gonna have to have room big enough to allow you rear side access.
Yeah, the one that worked was just showing me has a removable back and a removable sides, and it's, yeah, awesome. Because then we can do everything we need to do. You know, serviceability is a big deal, and, because I've ran into that problem here before too, and then the fact that nothing's grounded has been an issue as well. So, yeah.
Hey, how much do you think, in a couple of years, those servers we might run, or should we budget for this year and next year?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
If we have to replace our servers, say in 2 years, and you know more about the pricing than I think anybody up here, how much should we allocate for like a capital, or maybe a capital outlay for servers in 2 years? I mean, what would you put away this year and next year to meet that goal?
Pre-tariff cost, if we'd have bought them a year ago, you're looking at about 4,500 bucks per server, preloaded, pretty much ready to go. Now, you can just double that. I mean, we're seeing stuff on the shelf that we used to pay 400 bucks for, that's like $800, $900. It's crazy.
You keep it up with tariff, because we have to pay tariff, we have to pay them. But how many servers do we need at 8,000? How much you say the server costs nowadays?
Yeah, you're probably looking at about $8,000 per machine for something decent.
How many?
And we're looking at getting 2 of them within the next 3 years, I would think. One for the city and one for the PD.
Okay.
So that's just where we're at, guys. I mean, and I can make stuff last as long as I can, but the problem I run into, especially on the PD side, is when we hit end of life, C just won't allow us to have it on the network anymore. It just can't be there. And that's where we're gonna be the next 2 years on that machine.
And so, at least, do you think maybe we should set aside like $4,000 or $5,000 this year, and we can same thing next year? I'm sure it'll go up the next couple of years.
I would try to, and you never know, I mean, if the tariffs in, prices go down a little bit, or if the market gets flooded with merchandise because it's not being purchased, prices will go down. It just depends, but I'd like to have it there in case something happens. I'm one of those guys, I don't want to put you all in a position where you're running peer-to-peer for 6 months.
Nobody wants it.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to have the money there, that way we can order something, we can get it done as soon as possible, get it implemented and deployed and ready to go.
So that raises up to what, about 26,
And when you, subscription fees,
28?
when they keep going up, what do you
We're dividing
anticipate?
half, we'll have this year.
Oh, subscriptions will
3
always
years,
go up.
three,
They got
three years
you.
left on our
I
server.
mean,
That's
that's,
it too, while we go next.
that's the thing behind that whole
I would
subscription.
replace
service.
it, I would replace it sooner than later.
Your Microsoft subscriptions might stay the same, but subscriptions on everything else are gonna run sky high.
Place it ahead of time, it's planned. Wait till it breaks down.
Most also, most when you do a new service, every you run parallel for a while. You know, make sure there's,
So that's what I'm saying, you don't want one to go down, and then you're.
nobody ever does.
Yeah.
And if y'all remember, most of y'all were here about 8 years ago, we got hacked.
Yeah.
We got paid a raise in our data back. That's, you know, some of our stuff went flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to answer that question, if I deploy a new server and I've still got an operating machine that's reaching end of life, I'll leave it on the network for a minimum of 3 months, just to make sure that it's good, just to make sure it's not gonna fail, and we got everything and everything's been moved over. And then we slowly take that machine out of service.
And also too, gentlemen, we never have got that ground fixed over there, so that's why we're still running on batteries. I want to see that ground fixed on the administrator's side. I know we've brought this up before, if I said fix it, but it's still hasn't been fixed.
And I think you talked about that earlier. That was one thing. Anyway, you good, Hank?
How
Thank
much,
you.
how much do you have budgeted for the new building on the tech side?
For the what?
For all the tech side on the new building, how much do you have budgeted already?
So I'm still waiting on the electrician to give a bid, so I know how much money I have left over on that. But I also have the existing budget and next year's budget for the IT and the hardware and all that stuff. And I'll cover that when I'm going over this. I did bump the budget up in those items to try to be able to take care of that. And I don't know everything that was discussed in this because I had an emergency I had to handle outside. So I guess when I get to that line item on mine, I'll talk a little bit on that.
Yep, all right. Going back to municipal court expenses, anything else to stick out? Any questions on municipal court expenses? Moving on, administration.
Quick question on municipal court expenses.
Yes, sir.
Judge and attorney and municipal court security fund.
Judge,
Both went up considerably from this year.
yes, sir.
What was that?
Judge and attorney fees, line 46050, and municipal court security fund, 47001. So one of them went up, the court fees went up 50% for the judge and attorney fees, and it went up,
No, he's
I'm sorry, not 50%, that's not right.
No.
I was looking out the wrong line.
And 880's only.
So it did go up, it went up
Went up
20%.
Yeah,
20%.
Yeah, there you go.
Theirs went up. We talked about that last year. We raised their price up. And then also we've had, one court this year with their 3 bench trials, with another one with the jury trial set to go, which we're going to be paying them another time to come. That's why we raised it to 2,000, because we weren't sure of how many trials there could be in the new year. Because the jury trials that are set right now, I think they're set for September or October. So they could fall into either one of the budgets right now, but they keep getting moved because of more other things. The one under that, the municipal court security fund, that is the bailiff.
So if we win as the prosecutor, if we win the bench trial or the jury trial, then are we able to recover those court fees as part of the fine?
Well, what I saw the other night was we had 3 bench trials. One didn't show up, so they're resetting that one. One who had a chance to plead out 3 months earlier, pleaded out that night before the trial. And then they went to trial with one, and what turned out to be a case of speeding that they were disputing turned into a $50 fine and a court cost. So we didn't even make the money back on the cost of what we did.
I would just ask from the judge and the prosecutor, right, if they're going to a jury trial, that we're able to recover the cost the city spends to have that trial if they're found guilty, right? That should be what they pay in addition to their original fine they could have pleaded guilty to. They chose to take it to trial, they lost, they should have to reimburse the city the cost of that trial. If they win, obviously, they don't pay anything. That's we shouldn't have gone to trial.
I'll look into that, yes, sir.
But they should definitely be paying our court cost if we have to fund a jury trial and a judge and a prosecutor. If they lose, they should have to pay for all of that, where they could have pled guilty.
Yeah. They did pay court costs, I just don't think it covered the cost. I'll
It
check
should.
on that. Yes, sir.
The court cost that they pretty much goes to the state, right? And then the fine goes to the city.
That's a whole fund.
They're high.
I don't know what it is.
It should be. Yes, 46030, page 5, top left. It's $50,000.
I thought that's what we were talking about. I thought you told about that's for the prosecutor.
This is our attorney for the city. The municipal court is the prosecutor. Different things. So 46050 on page 4 is the judge and the prosecutor.
Oh, you got it there.
The city attorney is 46030. Different department, 131.
Yeah, that is, what is it?
Different.
We good, man?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Moving on to administration. Salaries, you'll see an increase in the proposed salaries. Any questions on that? I would like to see the 5%, I'm sorry, the 3% COLA applied to the administration side also.
Is that on top of the raises that they're getting already?
That is on top of, no, we would need to figure, no, I'm talking about the ones that are not getting the raises.
A lot of those on that side are equity, not as a percentage for this year, because of the extra money from the court that we had. And the reason why that we went with.
Good point, go ahead with that.
We have the 5% on the other two people that
Yes.
are on the list.
Yes.
That barely is gonna cover the cost of the insurance raise that
Yeah.
the city's fixing to incur for them to, have their spouse on the insurance.
What, okay, no, that's a good point, Scott.
I don't mind the 5% for administration, because, you know, they need that. I mean, last year, I understand the police side, because they kind of the city afraid last year, but I think administration doing a great job.
So to answer your question, Councilman Warwick, no, scratch what I just said, it would be a 5% on those particular positions in administration. Only, not a 3% on top of that. Yes, thank you, Scott. No overtime budgeted there either?
No, that's where I told y'all earlier in that salaries where I built in that extra money for that and other to help. Should we need the part-time help for Josh? That's where I built that in under administration.
Yes.
Are we assuming call it the annex, I don't know what we're gonna call the police building, but are we assuming that electricity cost is under the administration and that's why it's up 50%?
I mean, it is right now.
Okay.
That's how it is right now.
I mean, it'll be metered separately, so if you want to build cheap, you can.
No, keep going.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yes, okay.
But I mean, you're adding a significant square footage, so I agree it's going to have to come somewhere. I just want to make sure it's under administration and you're covering all of the utility costs in there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that number is a good number to budget. Look at the actuals without the addition of the building. So that's not realistic.
And we're short 2 months for the actual today.
Yeah, so that's not, that 12,000 is not an accurate number on that electricity. We're already actuals at 10,568. We still have 2 months left in this fiscal year. We're adding a large amount of air conditioned space, lighted air conditioned space. Yeah. So that should have been an increase of about 50% over actual. Am I right on that?
I would definitely split that with the police department.
Yeah, no, I
However
agree.
you all work that out, it probably needs to be closer to 15 or
15, I would go 50% over actual, and actual's not even actual yet. We still have 2 months left.
of the high heat months. That's
Yeah, so if you look at that, we're gonna be at right bumping 13,000.
Up to 15 to be safe.
You think so?
Yeah.
That needs to be changed to 15.
15 or 16?
15.
That's what it was.
Well, my new building's gonna have better insulation. I don't know what air conditioner is here now, but I'm sure it's not one of the higher SEER numbers because of its age.
Mhm.
And you're gonna get more air conditioning for less money.
We're only saying that it'll probably use about $2,000 more dollars annually, is what we're saying. Because we're gonna be at 12.5 or 13.
2,400 square foot, chief? What's the total size of the building?
It's a pretty good sized building, so I think we'll be safe.
Let me calculate, so I don't send you the wrong number.
Or 16 by 60 times 4, or I don't remember how big the final building was.
3,300.
Okay, I think 15 should. Going to.
Next year, once we figure out the bills, we can always include it in the DD budget, however we want to do it.
Yes, sir.
Right now, I don't have anything to go on.
Is that copier lease, the copier lease is split between admin and police? Is it split 50/50? Is it
There's 3 ways.
split 3 ways?
Court
Obviously,
gets a third.
Gotcha.
Not that they're not doing a good job, but if we found any way to mitigate our attorney fees by using TML more and the attorneys less, or
Well, a lot of, we just had so much
I mean, with the
different.
Thornberry contract being worked through, with the HR issues being worked through, are
I
we
would-
expecting a 25% increase? Or actually,
I think that
probably closer to that, to meeting this year's budget, but I would think that
we raised it for the reason of the uncertainty of that because of where it went this year with all the stuff with contracts with Thornberry Development and just all the things that took on that with the Chiefs building, took some money out of that too. It was just different things. It just adds up really quick with.
yes, it does.
It's probably not bad to have that in there for insurance.
I agree. I just like
Insurance against other things, but I
Not
don't
saying not to
see.
budget it, I think we need to budget that.
Yeah.
I just like to make sure that we're exercising every avenue we can before we pick up the phone to call.
Yeah. We've been on, well.
Something with a 5-minute timer.
We've been on TML this week on our other issue, so we do talk to them, yes, sir.
Matter of fact, speaking of TML, I'd like to have a subscription to it, like we used to have. We used to have 2 subscriptions to TML so we can do our own research. I think Liz might have cut that off for April. One of the 2, I think that's April, because nobody was using it.
And then for LexisNexis or for,
Well, no, you just, like your TMO post, we used to buy books, everybody got a book, up until they quit printing them about like 5 years ago. And now you got the old way to do your research, but before, each council had a $300 book. And it was just Texas codes laws.
I don't need to look.
Well, you may not. But
No, I mean, you can find it all online is my point.
Well, yeah, but-
But you don't even have to pay for that anymore. right? You
Well,
get it all free.
if you have a subscription, it's a lot easier to categorize and do it research instead of random article with full of church and you type in a certain subject. The reason why we had to do it is because we all share the same password, we will actually do it, I don't know. But I would like us to budget for at least one, probably 2 subscriptions to be with.
I've never even heard of that, David. I really haven't. I've been 2 years and I've never heard of it.
Way back. Yeah, you're looking back, quite a while.
But it was a valuable tool for.
8 years or something.
I wouldn't even know how
7,
much.
8 years.
I
I'd
mean,
just
I
be
can call and
curious.
find out what that costs, but it's something that hadn't been used in what you're saying 5 years.
April said we had to use it, but I used it all the time.
April's been gone for 5 years too.
Just curious, the benefit of that versus using 3 different AIs to get you the same information and then cross-referencing them to make sure they're valid. So that the AI is all free and it can pull up any Texas law in a matter of seconds without thumbing through 400 pages of a book looking for
So
something.
first of all, I'm waiting to book people.
No, I was gonna say they probably.
Even the search engine on TML's website, I just don't know that it's managed as well as the combination of Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and OpenAI.
Well,
I can go through all 4 of those in a matter of minutes and find
Well, I
anything.
don't, you know, I'm old school, I like to do research on a website, I'm tired of using book and that. But since I don't like the book anymore, but I do, me and Greg Parton have a lot of research on TML.
Yep.
And even though the administration has retired, it might have been that other fellow, what's his name?
Tim?
Tim, it might have been.
It left when April came in, but she wasn't here on
Yeah, well, she determined we wasn't using something she didn't know about, and so she got that deal, so I would like that better.
I tend to agree with
Say
it.
something on that. The police equipment, all it is a codified book tailored towards council. The police have a version of it too. We used to buy or I think we still do buy a hard copy every year. It's like $70 every 2 years. It's not every year, it's every 2 years. 2 years. When they update, and they do the same thing to that. Ours costs like $70, but nobody uses it. We all go directly to the same book, the actual legislation, and I can provide that email. I mean, I can provide that web source. It's easy to search. You can search things, but if you want the book, it's only our version of it's like $79.
Well, our version of it, they don't make anymore. They quit printing that years ago.
Oh, they would.
I still got the last version update I got was, I think, 2019, 2020, last year they published.
Well,
Locational.
I'll search for something.
search for, we have $3,500 budgeted under subscriptions. We only use $3,284. So if y'all are talking about less than $100, then it's very doable
I
within the
don't speak
budget.
for the police side.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I don't care if it's 200, I want that subscription. That's where I do my research. That's where I look at Texas law, codes, city codes, things like that. So it's a tool that we should utilize as council.
Let's look into it. Let's get some numbers for it. We're not, this isn't by no means the final
If I need to look into it, I will.
Office furniture equipment, have you budgeted enough, Scott, Marie, have y'all budgeted enough for
I'll look into it.
the remodel?
Chief
Or
tells me
which line
it's-
item again?
No, that's not our,
No?
we didn't budget, that's supposed to be.
Okay.
Chief says he's relocated.
Yeah.
What was the question?
No, I wanted to make sure that, that they budgeted enough under office furniture equipment for after the remodel happens.
Is that cleaning service? Do we have somebody cleaning or something?
Say it again?
The cleaning service is $7,800, we went up 65 to 78.
She went up $25 a week, first time she's had a raise in 7 years.
No, that's right, yeah. He come and told me about that. Which was fine, and actually that wasn't out of line for her to do that.
It was,
Law will do, bro.
You promised, so.
Yeah, I use it myself, too, she's good.
The Wrong Force Events Committee spent $5,000, but we're not budgeting anything this year.
It's a rollover. It's a carryover. I take what was income and expenses and
It's gotta come through there and go back out.
So it'll show up as a budget amendment or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we had to do many years ago when we first started, because the city sanctioned it, but the money we made, we couldn't put into any bank. We had to give it to the city to put into a line item.
Right.
And then we could spend money out of that line item. But that's the only thing that money was scheduled, we originally scheduled to use for, which was special event. So it's neither an addition or a subtraction from the actual city budget.
Speaking of banks, we use Wells Fargo.
yes.
Is there a reason we're tied to them? Just, are they as competitive as others for our savings and account?
most of our savings is with Texaco. Everything just bank-wise goes through Wells Fargo.
Just for writing checks.
Yeah, our majority of our money's in Texaco.
Mayor, what's the miscellaneous, Mayor?
Well, that was, I think, a plaque or something, miscellaneous mayor, what was spent on that, a plaque?
Flags.
Huh?
No, flags.
Flags.
Flags, that's
You
what.
bought flags for the boulevard.
Yes.
A great
The mayor
purchase.
has a budget he can use at his discretion.
It is.
He does.
It's
I know you.
I'm talking $1,000.
I was just wondering why we spent 200 and part of it.
Hey, 199.98, come on.
That's right.
Kept it under 200, that was the commitment.
That was the best buy of the year so far.
Right.
That and a pencil sharpener required to plant.
Exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
Where you going?
Okay, so
We're
anything
gonna wrap
else?
it up by 7. Carl needs to get on music.
Anything else under administration? Any more comments? Okay, let's move on to, let's look at the code enforcement. Code enforcement, regular salary, overtime, certification pay. There's no certifications on code enforcement? Gee,
Yes.
there's no certification pay under code enforcement?
So, code enforcement is the certificate, there's multi-levels, and just like police, we don't pay for a code enforcement certificate, that's part of getting his salary. So, same thing with the police officer, the basic, we don't pay any extra for, we pay when they earn their intermediate. Same thing with the code enforcement. When they get to
budgeted
level 2, they'll get a little extra.
Yeah, we budgeted $2,000 for it way back in 2024.
Yes, that's because it was under a different program. When I absorbed the code enforcement, I moved them into the way we do it on the police role.
All right, so just, everybody, let's look at let's finish looking at code enforcement, look at all the items that go with that.
So I just handed out a little handout that might help
Oh, okay, sure.
if needed. Does anything stand out?
Yeah, that's what I was
To me,
asking.
I think everything is very reasonable.
Are we good on that vehicle that he's in for through this next budget?
We're gonna be able to go through that, and my plans are at the end of next budget, we'll have another Tahoe for him.
Yeah, keep
But we
pushing
think-
them down.
We think this one will be good this time.
Gotcha.
And the biggest significant one is salary is me and Scott put our heads together, and he has been doing an awesome job, especially in the permitting, which is not under my realm, so I would leave that to Scott to explain. But we both agreed that this position needed a little boost there.
You're up, yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, once again, it goes back to that extra money that we had rolling it in. And so we bumped it about 2 months ago. And we're bumping it to the other part to get it up to where it's going to be. Josh not only does all the permitting for the city, but he does all the code enforcement for the city. He's now TCEQ stormwater drainage certified to keep us in compliance with our ditches and making sure our discharge into the creek at Beach Creek is in compliance. He's writing on permits with them. By the way, that's worth the price of admission right there. But that's why he was just underpaid for all the things that we asked him to do in this city, and so that's why we bumped that pay up. Getting it up there to where on the city side, it would be like a supervisor, it'd be like what Larry is.
What percentage pay jump is that?
Sir?
What percentage pay jump is that?
It's, I don't have a percentage. It was an equity raise, Mr. Blaine.
It would be probably somewhere in the realm of 10%.
What is the abatement of properties budget? That's for when we have to mow and we're finding somebody and maybe we get the money back and maybe we don't. Are we charging the people that we're mowing for?
Sometimes.
Is there a reason we're not doing it all the time? I mean, I don't
Sometimes our
understand
guys
why
just
we would
mow.
treat anybody, right? If somebody lives out of state and they've owned the property and they've not maintained it, why do they get their yard mowed and I don't get my yard mowed?
Those people do get a letter, they get a bill to them. The ones I'm talking about are like the wooded lots when we're going somewhere, we do 3 stripes just to get it to the ditch.
No.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, when we do like on Magnolia Bend, that house that's on it where the people have been gone for a year, they've got, I think, 2 bills now from
Yeah.
code enforcement where we had to go mow it for them. No, I'm sorry, we just did it once. But yes, those people, they do get it. The house over on Mockingbird, they got billed. The big jobs do get billed. The small ones, just the 5 swipes that get us into the ditch to make sure the water can flow.
But we're tracking that separately for this $2,000 budget, so when they mow that, they're billing to this rather than just billing to maintenance?
Are you talking about the,
I'm talking about the line item that says abatement of properties, $2,000.
Well, if you look
We've
at
never
it,
spent against
it's
it.
never, it's just never been applied to it.
So why do we budget for it?
Good.
Right, take that $2,000, move it to technology, and that's something that goes towards a cabinet and the first down payment on the server.
Well,
We've never spent against it. Eliminate the line item and charge the people when we mow their yards.
can I explain a little bit?
Absolutely.
Last year, we implemented that. It wasn't there the previous year. And what we did, we put a $3,000 income and a $3,000 expense, which balanced itself out. This year, I think we put it as a $1,000 income and a $2,000 expense, but we didn't use anything last year. That's more, instead of the mowing the ditch thing, that's intended for if we gotta hire somebody to mow somebody's entire yard. The mowing is just, that's the example we're talking about. There's other abatement things, like removing all the junk or something like that. So let's say we had to pay a recycle guy or something to come in and clean out the whole yard, and that cost us $1,500. We need somewhere to pay for that as, and then we're gonna bill it to the people, but it might take 3 days to collect that money, or it might take 3 years to collect that money. So we just don't know when that's gonna come in. But
So
if
that's
it's-
not meant for internal labor that we have, that's meant for if we had to hire a sub to come in and do a cleanup.
in my train of thought, when we implemented that, and we implemented because of a lot of conversations between me and you.
Yes, sir.
Because we wanted to kind of change how we handle a few things, instead of just say, hey, pay a citation, write multiple citations. Well, at some point, we need to go in there, clean it up for them, and then we'll eventually put a lien on their house.
Correct.
If it's just a little section by the ditch, it's actually not on their property, so we send them a bill, we can't really do a lien. But, internal labor, we just kind of say, if the police need to go help the maintenance guy do something, we're not gonna bill that to the maintenance department, we're just gonna absorb it. And we kind of expect the same thing, if the maintenance is gonna come and do something on the police side, we'll just absorb it. This is more for hiring an outside contractor.
And so the income line is there for if and when we get reimbursed for it. Okay.
Exactly.
Then I agree.
Eventually, if we put a lien on the house, we're gonna get reimbursed
Yeah.
for it, but the house might not sell for 10 years.
Okay. Anything else under code enforcement?
The other thing is in lots, if people don't pay their taxes, and the lot eventually goes to be sold, I think it goes under the school district at that point in time. And if you know a ditch in Centerville, the school district, I think would be acquired if we got, not anything against the school districts.
We've got connections with the school district.
We do.
Yeah.
And our connection, what are you listening to? All right, council, let's move on to the police department expenditures. And yeah, I'll let Chief get started, but I looked at budgeted last year, I looked at budgeted this year, and I'm looking at 6.3% increase. So that's where I got that 6.3 at earlier. If I look at that number and that number, that's where I see that. This is just code enforcement.
Thank you.
So everybody remember my 4.75% increase on income.
I know we got a good rate last year.
They did, as well as the county and surrounding counties, yes. It was right at a 10% increase last year.
So what I'm looking at on the salary line item is just trying to get a feel for, the county did a multi-year proposal, and I'm not so sure that the second year is going to fly. So, because, you know, that there's other parts, you know, I'm not going to speak for the county, but I think a reasonable assumption is they're going to get a 5% increase. So I want to keep up with that. So I want to raise my pay scale, which I just passed out, to 5%. And when I went to raise the bottom of the pay scale, I raised everybody all the way up, and everybody existing would get that. So that would explain the increase on that, and that would be applied to the August comparison and all that stuff that we talked about earlier for as well.
And is that strictly 5%, or that's 5% cost of living and then merit?
5% and then merit.
So in addition to that?
And then,
Wait for the mayor to back real quickly. I think the mayor will probably go over here to this.
okay, special. All right, I'll pause and let y'all look at it, I guess, until the mayor gets back.
Right here.
Sorry, we're bailing on you one at a time, chief. Sorry. I always hate to call for a recess and a workshop because I feel like anyone should be able to get up and go to the restroom, but not all of us at once, so I apologize.
Right.
Sorry, Chief, I started that.
I will give you your time, chief. I'm not gonna cut it off at 7 in the middle of your, because I know you can't be here with us next week.
Did you say 7 or 7:30?
I said 7 earlier, but
I think he said 8.
no, sir. I think Ricky will agree. I think I said 7:15.
Absolutely.
Make a motion that there should definitely be popcorn for every budget workshop.
Next one.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're trying to burn up all that old popcorn. I've had popcorn every day.
That's work. That's new popcorn.
Okay, don't say old popcorn.
We don't use old popcorn here.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
Okay, so the increase, 5% on the pay scale, that's the majority of that. There's I allowed some in there for some merit increase, but I have not applied that. I've got some numbers, you know, scenario numbers, but I have not actually applied that yet. So, but it is included in there just in case I need it, so.
I'm sorry, so the merit is included in these numbers, or?
Yeah, it's included in there, so
Okay.
I don't always use the merit completely. I never use the merit completely, but it's in
I
there.
just want to make sure I understand
Yeah.
what's in here. So 5% cost of living plus merit as,
That's where the 6.3
Right.
is.
And then I went up on overtime. I like to use overtime instead of time off. A lot of agencies use comp time, but I kept comp time at a very low number, and I like to pay the overtime because I don't want to, if an officer goes into overtime, I don't want to have to give them a day off because that, to me, it robs me of the amount of hours I have on patrol.
Well, not only that, but comp time costs our citizens more at a later date than it would at the time they actually did it.
And that's why over the years, I've been slightly bumping the overtime every year. And I'm pretty much getting it pretty close to where I want it. I don't change it drastically every year, just a little tweak. And we're splitting that with the bonus. All these other ones, the certificate pay, they're calculated based on the individual officer. As officers change, those numbers change yearly. So some go up, some go down. Medical obviously went up. Retirement's going to go up every time salaries go up. Social Security, unemployment, workers' comp, all those are changed by percentage of the salary. Training and education. The reason I have 0 for the city's contribution is because the city actually doesn't pay for the training. We have training school here. We charge for the training, and we also do other things to raise money, like we'll hold a gun class for the public, and stuff like that, and the public will make donations that go into our training. And what we do is we just carry that balance over every year. So after the budget is finalized and we do our first budget amendment, we incorporate our balance in that account into that number. So right now it's 0, but after the first budget amendment, it's going to be what we have left, which right now is something like 14 grand or something like that. We have plenty in there.
What is the tow program here compared to the others? So this is a cost of 16,000.
It's
The
a
other
wash.
was income.
Yes.
It's a wash, it's gotta come in and go out, it's a roll.
Okay, I'm going to explain that right now.
I mean, that's mine.
27,000 on the income. I put 10,000 in fuel because fuel is very unpredictable right now. I needed to load a lot into the fuel. So I put 10,000 of that 27,000 in fuel. I put 1,000 in miscellaneous, and the rest I put in tow program, which is 16,000. What's going to come out of that is paying the tow bill, the tow book, the app that they use. And then after all those bills are paid, and another example is we purchased the ID making machine, which makes the records driver's IDs. It also makes our city ID, saving us $15 per ID. So that's definitely a smart purchase. That would come out of there, which we've already bought. That's just an example. Any maintenance to that or any cost that has associated with the tow program will come out of this. And the leftover out of that would become like a miscellaneous fund. So if I'm a little bit short on maintenance and repairs, I'll pull it from there. So there would become the remainder of that would become a miscellaneous. And then technology,
The tow program only operates in Roman Forest or also in Tolola?
both, yes,
But the expense is only the Roman Forest?
yes. The expense comes from the income. So the income is 27, and I just applied it there.
Okay.
Why don't you split that?
Huh?
Why don't you split that way the whole has part of it too?
Yeah, I could, but the income comes in on the city side, so I just kept it under that same column. So it just makes it, because it's like a wash. I have some handwritten notes over here, 10K next to the fuel and oil, 1,000 next to the miscellaneous, and 16 where it says 16. And that's an accurate number. The 27 is an accurate number. Technology and subscriptions. I moved it, that went down because I moved the wireless. To me, it didn't make sense to have the wireless air cards out of there. You know, Tasers is a subscription now. Axon, body cams, the dash cams, all those things are subscriptions now. Cameras. But the air cards to me is more like a phone bill. It comes on the phone bill. So what we've been having to do is separate the air cards from the telephone and put them in two different budget. Why not just put them all in the telecommunications? To me, it makes more sense. Same money, I just moved it. So you'll see the telecommunications went up 4,500 and the subscriptions has gone down. Subscriptions gone down more than that, but there's other reasons for that.
But we will split that with the Volo for their officers, right?
Yes, the subscriptions are split, yes. Technology support, I went up 2,500 because of the problems that we're gonna have to solve. The new building, stuff like that, upgrades. Technology, hardware, software, I bumped that up another 1,500.
You would have looked at it a lot more.
Huh?
Apparently you wasn't here when Hank was talking.
I was not.
So, yeah, that's gonna have to look quite a bit.
Yeah, we've got some numbers, we're gonna have to increase that a little bit because one server will be dedicated to that side, right?
Hank,
Yes.
One server will be dedicated to the police department side. We're talking about
Yes.
the new server.
We're gonna need to replace that server within the next 2 years.
Okay, and then that was on top of, we're estimating about 14 grand immediately for the new building. You said about 7, but then we doubled it for later.
Probably, I mean, it all depends on who's gonna get the cable and.
Yeah, so what we're saying is there needs to be more money. You're gonna have expenses within this next budget that you're not accounting for yet.
And well, I've also.
Not the server.
Yeah.
Server's 2 to 3 years away, but at the price that it's at, you're gonna have to do it over a couple of years. Anyway, go ahead.
Telecommunication, I already explained that, I added the air cards. Copier lease, there's a fair way that we work that out through the city to figure out who's billed for what. And I do apply a smaller percentage over to Jabola because we don't use that many copies for that. Liability insurance, that's a calculation I get from TML. I do split that fairly. Equipment insurance, same thing. Drug screen, I split that out, but the drug screen only applies when we have accidents. Our officer has an accident or something, it's automatic policy to do a drug screen and hiring and stuff like that. Vehicle repairs and maintenance. No matter what I do, I try to go down on that. We get a new car, I'm thinking, okay, we have a new car, replace an old car. It just never works out. The maintenance always goes up. So I needed to add a little bit to that. I was looking at some actual numbers, and I think that's a fair number to go with, and that's split 50-50. Dues and subscriptions, I have to bump that up just a little bit.
Bump it up some more and get Councilman Mullane a TML book, would you?
Right?
I wish they made the books.
I'm gonna research that for you. We'll figure out how to get it for you.
Well, I got one of those, it's over, quit doing updates.
How much is a copier lease?
Too much.
466.
A month?
$466.
A month?
And, yes, and we split it
We'll spread it amongst each
for
other.
three line items, 3 departments. Units.
And postage, I bumped that up because I need to mail a few things this coming budget. I have still some refrigerator magnets and stuff like that. So, and I've got the split cost on that. General supplies, I went up on that because, things just keep going up. That, I do try to be really frugal with that. Usually I have a little left over at the end of the year. I use it just in case I need to buy something. And then any wants that I have, I usually put them off until the end of the budget year. But I keep that all year long just in case there's an emergency, and a lot of times I have a lot left over in that. But things just keep going up. Uniforms, I kept the same. Miscellaneous, I told you I added 1,000 to it because of the toast stuff. And community outreach, I added a little bit to it, 400. It's good to get out there and have coloring books or fingerprint cards or magnets or cups. It's good to have stuff like that for community relations and events. And we've been working really closely with the events committee. And also that's a split line item too. So the vehicle, last year we dropped. The year before it was 77. And last year we found that unicorn demo that's a police car that's never been in service as a police car because it's still owned by a lighting company. That was that unicorn. It was a great buy. And so we reduced the budget to get by, and it helped us with the pay increases or whatever by saving money there. But 54 is definitely not the standard number. So I had to bump that up to 80. And of course, 20 for the city, 60 for the bowl.
Yeah, you won't find a deal like that again.
Yeah. Yeah, those are hard to come by. If I did, I'd jump on a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that. Any questions?
Yeah, question for Chief. So, Mr. Council, looking at this, so you were talking about that number on your regular salaries included merit raises. So what council has to decide is, are we going to do a 3% cost of living or a 5%? Would you be comfortable with either one of those numbers without any merit raises?
So are you calling the?
Not certificate pay, not messing with
Are
that.
you calling the pay scale increase?
I'm looking at their salaries, and so understand, a across-the-board 3% would affect each officer equally, because it has nothing to do with merit, okay, it's a cost of living. A 5%, same thing, would be a cost of living. We're not talking about merit or step, or any of that. That's not what this is.
To me, the 5% is to keep me competitive.
Mhm.
It's not about getting an officer raise. It's to keep me competitive. I'm talking about the pay scale, but when I do increase the pay scale, the current officers absolutely need, if they don't, the new officer will come in making more money than them, of course, right? So here's a little comparison of some of our local agencies. Some people I wasn't able to get some numbers from, so I used last year numbers, like Montgomery County. I don't have a new number, but I do for Liberty County, I don't for Conroe, I do for Splendora. You know, the black numbers are last year, the red numbers are this year. So we are below Splendora and above Splendora ISD, kind of right there in the middle. I'd love to be up there with Montgomery County, but I don't see it. But I'm happy, I'm comfortable with staying as far back behind as we are. But I'd love it if they move up, we move up with them. Even still staying behind them is fine. But if I'm anticipating them getting 5%, I'd like to get the 5% too.
Does Councilman Moore have an idea of what they're gonna get? Gotcha.
We won't know that till the middle of August.
Yeah, and there's a lot of both sides of that right now going on at Commission's Court, so, yeah. I will tell you, Chief, that 16% over 2 years is not sustainable for the city. It's not. So it's gonna have to be in every other year.
Usually it is. Usually I wait 3 years or so before.
No, and I know you do. And I know last year was a special deal because yes, we had to stay competitive with the county, surrounding counties and cities, and I get that. Yeah. I just so you know, a 10%, 6%, 6% next year, it's not sustainable for the amount of growth that we're expecting over the next year or 2 years. It's just not. What I do not want to do, and I've got one more year to keep this down, I don't want to raise our tax rate on our citizens, especially at this time. So I'm happy that we're going with a no new revenue. Yeah, to quote somebody that's very smart, we need to do more with less, and we need to do that for a while until some things change. Yeah. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. So when I say a 3%, I'm talking that your budget would go from 825 to 850. When I say a 5%, your budget would go from 825 to 866. The 880 includes, that's, the math says 6.3% on salaries. Because that's what the math tells me on that. And the city cannot sustain a 6% this year, next year. If that's the norm, it's not sustainable.
Do we know what the cost of living adjustment is projected at right now?
He would have a better idea middle of August on that.
But we don't know right now without waiting till the middle of August, right?
Not yet.
No matter, I've always been a real big supporter of the police department.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think most people here know that, people are as well. But consider the increase they got last year. I can totally understand where you're coming from. And I don't think that would be sustainable.
No, it's not, but hear me out, a 3% cost of living increase is better than zero, and I'm gonna tell you, county employees, other than law enforcement, county employees got zero last year. So 3% is good, 5% is great for a cost of living increase. Yeah, 10% last year was great to bring these guys up to close to where they need to be. I'm not gonna say where they need to be. Yeah. Yeah.
My goal is to stay competitive.
And I get that.
Because if I'm not competitive enough, I have a Patton Village situation. The Patton Village cannot staff their police department right now.
But we also have to stay
The chief is on
competitive.
call at midnight hours because they can't find anybody, because they didn't do what we did last year.
He's bringing up a good point, and I know what he's gonna say, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say that the city has to stay competitive with our tax rate as well.
Yes.
Right, so what I have trouble with, Chief, I understand your argument, and I'm not arguing that the police officers don't deserve a pay raise.
Right.
But when I look at the, just 3 line items, right? If I look at the total, no new revenue, total budget for the city, right? If I go to page 9, right? Our entire budget for the city, $2,546,496. Am I reading that correct, Cory?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay? Last year's budget, total budget following amendments, $2,784,495. We're down. The year before that, 2025,
And again,
right?
and the one before that too.
So
So,
our income and our no new revenue taxes for next year are less than they were last year, but the police budget increased 9%. That means the rest of the city gave up that 9% for the police increase because we still went down. So somewhere we've got a problem that we need to figure out how to get the police to raise, but not raise the police budget 9%.
then that's another way to look at it too.
And I don't know exactly where that's gonna come from and how we achieve that.
We did work out a zero-based budget before we started the meeting tonight. It already, by lowering the taxes, it already equaled to 0.
We did, but we've identified some areas where some monies are gonna have to be put already. And there are areas that other monies could be put on improvements to other areas in our city.
I mean, we know there's several roads in the city that are just abysmal, that need to be resurfaced. We know we need money for the servers. We know we need miscellaneous money for the grounding. We know we're gonna need things we haven't thought of for the police edition once it's in, to make sure that we've got all the bells and whistles and security and exterior light and parking lot striping and all the things we haven't thought about.
Equipment for our maintenance department. I hadn't even got to that yet. Yeah, I know. And you may have budgeted what we've kind of talked about over the last few months, but you may not have. So, anyway, my intention is to be fair to those guys. Definitely do not want to give them a 0, because I know how that feels. But we have to decide, is that 3 or 5? And, yeah, we have to look for other ways to generate revenue so that we can increase your guys, or we've got to find a way to do more with less so the guys that are there can get up to where they need to be.
There's not any department that generates revenue. It's the police department. The police department generates revenue. 94,000 profit.
There's no department that permits generates revenue.
Yeah, I don't think it touches what the police department does.
Yeah.
Understand, but the police also has fully half of the city budget. Right.
43%. But I mean, right now, I stand with, I think, looking at that sheet I just handed out, to stay competitive, I think that pay scale needs to be brought up, brought up 5%. If the county gets another 10%, there's nothing I can do. But if they get another 5%, I can at least stay competitive. Being a little bit behind them, $5 grand behind them, I can absorb. The county, they go call. They don't get a moment to themselves. In my opinion, I would rather work here for $5,000 less. But falling further behind than that, I really don't want to do. And I have no control. I have no control what's going to happen in the Commissioner's Court. And if they get a 10%, then I just have to throw my hands up. I can't keep up. But 5%, I feel good about being able to keep up. So 5% to the scale, I really would like y'all to consider. The merit increase, I have a 5% merit increase that I don't ever use. So it's more closer to 2% maybe. or 1% actually, been doing their calculations. It looks like I'm only going to not plan to use 1%, that number hasn't been set yet. But it looks like I only plan to use 1% of that 5% anyway, so, for a merit increase.
Yeah, we're
if
not
I
the
have
county,
to-
chief, we're not the county, we're a bedroom community with very little commercial income, whether that be property tax, we have zero sales tax income. Because we want to keep this a quiet bedroom community, we are going to limit the amount of commercial area that can even be built on. And so even looking out further, everything is residential tax income, yeah.
If I fall behind to where I can't find people to work, then crime goes up. If I can't find quality, I got, it ended up, and I would never purposely settle for less quality, but
Right.
if I wound up in that position, crime goes up. Doing one-off positions because it takes me 8 months to fill it because I can't find somebody willing to work for that much, crime goes up. So I think it's reasonable to say, ask for what I'm doing. I even believe it enough, if you give me a dollar amount to reduce that, I'll take it from my pay.
We're not trying, I'm not trying to undercut or shortchange anyone. My job is to sit here and look out for the citizens that pay taxes within my city. I am the one that has a say-so over how their dollars are spent, and I'm gonna spend those dollars the best way I can, and I would rather not spend their dollars. I would rather them keep them. I'm glad to see the tax rate go down. Do I want to compromise their safety, the security of our city for that? No, but there is a balance there. Yeah.
I think asking for what I'm asking is reasonable, but if you need me to lower it, I would rather just lower my salary to a number that we can agree on. I'd be willing to do that if you need to.
All right. Any other comments tonight, council, on this particular item? We're going to stop here. We're not going to go any further in the budget tonight.
Say one thing.
Go ahead.
My wife, for those who know her, she really don't want anything to do with the political aspect. She's always been that way. But one thing that let me make sure that she's on. One thing that she said, she said, well, we're going to go over and we're going to work on the budget. And she said, you know, one thing about this city, and we've lived in places all over the world. She said, one thing about this city, she said, I feel safe here. Make sure the police get enough money to keep me safe. And I didn't ask her. She told me that up front as I walked out the door. So, and I agree with that. You know, we can take it how you want, but you know, there's somebody that pays no attention and really don't want to have anything to do with politics or any of this. I thought that was pretty profound.
Where,
Yes, sir.
you know I'm not gonna be here next week.
I understand.
I can, if I have to, let me know, but I'll leave it noon on Tuesday so that I can be here for the meeting if I need to. But if it's possible,
This
are you
budget,
looking for 5,000 off the top of that? Because I can shave that right now.
I think that you're going to have an opportunity to meet with and talk to each council person. You're going to have an opportunity to meet with us again before any decision is made on this, before a final decision.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's
And that's
not
fine.
for several weeks.
Yeah,
But,
I think each person in here is going to go home, they're going to think about this, and they're going to come back with a recommendation, each one of them, at the next meeting. And we're going to put that down as a draft, and you will have input on that. I'm not going to cut you out of that decision.
Before the next meeting, I'd like to see all the stats from when the budget started to today, from the department.
Stats,
Stats.
like,
The rest is over
like the
there.
rest,
and all that.
Yeah.
like the stuff I put on the monthly report, right?
Yeah, so you-
All totaled together. The
Yeah,
entire year, like, kind of make a yearly report from,
look at it like you're looking at a budget year. It's a
like,
budget.
from October 1st to current. That's easy, I can probably have that for you, tonight, tomorrow, Monday, whatever.
There you go. And I know you got to participate in that other next week. That's fine. All we're doing is, we're proposing a tax rate, okay? We're not, yeah, we're gonna propose a tax rate, so yeah, you're gonna have your opportunity. You're gonna plug in some different numbers on these lines that we talked about. You and I are gonna have a sit-down meeting.
We didn't get to two topics today.
Maintenance and what else?
You didn't get to maintenance and you didn't get to the parks.
But we've got 3 more
We
meetings.
got 3 more meetings.
Understand?
Okay.
We don't
Want to
have
make
to-
sure you do, we didn't get to that yet.
Understand?
No, I said we're gonna stop where we're at on the budget
I was
tonight.
thinking tonight was mainly focused on the chief anyway, just
Yeah.
because he's not gonna be here.
Yes, sir.
And we've already gone past the
Yeah.
mandatory 7 PM.
Mayor, I have no more questions instead.
Say it again,
I
sir.
have no more questions at this point.
Okay, great. Council, if everyone is ready to adjourn, let's go ahead and do it with a motion. I need a motion to adjourn for the evening.
Mayor, I make a motion we adjourn for the evening.
Councilman Mullane, motion to adjourn the workshop. Do I have a second? Second. Councilman Reasoner had his hand up. He seconds. All in favor of adjournment? It is, of course, unanimous. The time is 7:12. This workshop is adjourned.